Okay, the next section. This roughly goes from the fall of Rome up to like the 1500s or something. So it's basically the Dark Ages plus the Renaissance. First book, The Closing of the Western Mind. I've had this for years. This is about the fall of Rome, and it is an excellent book by Charles Freeman, published 2002. I recommend that to get to know more about how Platonism shut down the Roman Empire, how the Roman Empire succumbed to Christianity, but Christianity is just another word for Plato's philosophy run amok. So that's what that book's all about. Medieval History, 3rd edition, Carl Stevenson, $1. I got this here in New York City. Published fairly early, if I remember, 1935. Medieval History. That'll be as good as it gets for medieval history. I mean, it's like the history of the Dark Ages in Europe is like this king did that and that king did the other, and none of it's any principles at all. It's incredibly boring, but it's an area of history you ought to know at least something about. Renaissance Profiles by Garrett Mattingly and Company, edited by J.H. Plum. Copyright 1961. Machiavelli, Michelangelo, Lorenzo de Medici, Leonardo da Vinci, Pope Pius II, Doge Francesco Foscari, Federico da Montefeltro, and Beatrice and Isabel d'Este. Those are some interesting names. I didn't know the last three. There they are. The Renaissance Philosophy of Man, edited by Ernst Cassirer, Paul Christeller, and John Randall Jr. Selected Writings. This was $1. Selected Writings, published 1948. From Petrarca, Lorenzo Valla, Marsilio Ficino, Giovanni Pico della Mirandola. I don't know much about him, but I know that he had something to do with Galileo. They had a run-in or something. Pietro Pomponazzi, don't know about him. Juan Louis Vives. So, there's some interesting stuff that I don't know too much about, those names. And if they are indeed important enough to still be read today, I should like to have that on my shelf in case I ever get around to it. The next book, Renaissance in Italy, by Sinonda, Volume 1. This was $1. Published 1935. What was the name? John Addington Symonds, Symonds. The Renaissance in Italy. How about this? The Civilization of the Renaissance in Italy by Jacob Burckhardt. This is volume 1 or 2, or it's abridged perhaps. This is 50 cents because it's a paperback. Anything bigger than a paperback is $1 at the special place. This is 50 cents. I have a big hardcover version of this in Utah, which is also just volume 1. This doesn't say volume 1 anymore, which is distressing, so maybe it's abridged. But at any rate, this was written like in the 1700s or something, and it's a classic. The Renaissance Debate, edited by Dennis Hay. European Problem Studies, published 1965. Aha, I do have to take back when Burckhardt's Civilization of the Renaissance in Italy was published. It says here, in the Renaissance Debate, that Burckhardt's book appeared first in 1860, and it says that everybody in this book here is basically, consciously or not, having a discussion with Jacob Burckhardt. Here we have a series of debates, blah blah blah, about the Renaissance in Italy, discussing it with Burckhardt, basically, post-mortem or whatever, what is it, posthumously, having a, whatever, he's dead, and they're addressing him and what he says. Alright, next one, The Medieval Castle. I thought this would be interesting. by M.E. Reeves for $1. I thought this would be interesting to have for youngsters because it is for younger readers. Not too young. I would say a 12-year-old or so might be able to handle it. So I'll have that around, as well as more colorful books for younger ones. But there's pictures and drawings and stuff in here. And then a lot of good, like you can see there, solid print and type. And a few nice pictures and stuff too, and drawings. Good to have around, part of the kids' library. Published 1963. Western Europe in the Middle Ages, a short history, $1. Now this book has been loved and used. 1982. Might not be such a good book then. By Joseph Strayer. Look at all these little notes in here. Actually numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they stopped numbering them, but there we go. Western Europe in the Middle Ages. The Civilization of the Renaissance in Italy, Jacob Burckhardt. 2 copies of that. One in small paperback, one in quality paperback, and then one in Utah in hardback. Someday I'll read the damn thing. I've read, 20 or 40 or 50 pages into the one in Utah, but just couldn't keep going. The Foundations of Early Modern Europe, 1460 to 1559. By Eugene Rice, Jr. The reason that the Renaissance is sort of difficult to read about is because they were still, this is copyright 1970, it was still a period completely under the boot of religion. If you know about the struggles Galileo had, for example. So you read a lot about religion and about arguments in religion and who was doing what with religion and arguing against what the church was doing, and that's all extraordinarily tedious to me because I just don't even have one iota of belief left in me. I'm so far from being able to fathom a belief in God that I just, anything anyone wants to say about religion and God, I just say, oh, it better be something, you better be making fun of it. You better not be giving any credence to it at all, or else I'll just yawn and walk away. The Classic Theater. This really should be maybe in literature. Volume 1, 6 Italian plays. The Mandrake by Machiavelli, something by Angelo Bialocco, something by Anonymous, the 3 cuckolds, Anonymous, Goldoni, and Gozzi, G-O-Z-Z-I. Haven't heard of most of those. And all of these plays originally written centuries ago, published 1958. Renaissance, edited with an introduction by Edward Weatherly. That's just it, Renaissance right there. Now, has pieces by many different writers. Boccaccio, Rabelais, Cellini, Montaigne, Ronsard, Erasmus, Petrarch, Cervantes, Machiavelli, and St. John of the Cross are all represented in here. Voltaire by Candide, that should be probably in the literature section. And The Age of Adversity, redirected from, I mentioned this book earlier, it's been reclassified. So there we are, that's my Renaissance library. All but 2 or 3 of those, in fact I think maybe all but one of them, all but the very first one, Closing of the Western Mind, were obtained for $1 or 50 cents in 1 or 2 cases. So, pretty good little library I got going on the Renaissance there.